Good morning. This is Carrie from Conversations at Carrie's Corner, a podcast where we talk about just challenge, things that challenge all of us in our daily life. And by inspiring people to get back together and talk to each other so we can bridge this divide that seems to be a cancer on so many of our societies worldwide. We are so used to being on the phone that sometimes we forget that human communication is so valuable to our lives and a necessary thing. And so that's what this podcast is all about, why it was started, because the last two elections actually have shown, just in the United States anyways, just how divided we all are. And it seems like we just have forgotten how to talk to each other. We all have struggles. We all have things that we deal with in our daily life. A lot of things are common in groups. And so I just really wanted to start the vehicle of conversation again, talking about our issues, helping each other, supporting each other, giving each other advice and ideas and coping skills and all of those things that we used to do face to face. Technology has truly, in my opinion, been a destructive force to our societies. The internet, the cell phone, and social media. They're all very, very, very powerful tools that it seems we can't now live without. Life has completely changed with those innovations. But there can be good that can come from it. You can talk to somebody around the world. I have family around the world that I can do a Zoom call with, and I didn't have that capability before. So there's a lot of good that can come from it. And I think one of the things that can come from it is helping each other. So my husband and I were talking about this today and last night and pretty much daily for the last 6 months. And I thought it was a really good subject to talk about today. There are millions of people who are dealing with this. And at least for my husband and I, there's a lot of uncertainty. We 6 months ago lost my service dog. His name was Duke. He was 12-year-old. He was a black lab. He saved my life twice. He had an unbelievable personality, and he was attached to my hip and my husband's hip. He went everywhere with us. He was rarely ever left alone because he was my service dog. And in his lifetime, he had 2 major ACL surgeries, big surgeries to repair his back legs. And towards the end of his life, he got very, very bad arthritis. Cognitively, he was there. But I knew a year ago that he was really declining and declining fast. And on September 4th, we think he had a internal issue that caused his sudden decline, and we lost him on September 4th. He was in hospice care, and so we were prepared for the fact that we were facing the end, but the end is not how we had hoped it would go. It was traumatic. It devastated my husband and I. And his presence was so big that we are struggling. We're struggling to come home to an empty house, to look at the pool that he used to swim in. I can't get rid of any of his things. He was a family member. He just wasn't a dog. He was my service dog. He was our best friend. He knew when we were struggling. His support was just unbelievable, and his personality just was huge. And so we have really struggled with his passing. And the conversation we keep having, besides just the normal day-to-day grief, which some days are horrific. I had a lot of trauma after his actual passing, because it was very traumatic. I had a long time to process how he died. I still have nightmares about it. It is not how I wanted it to have gone for him, because he deserved the very best in all things. And my husband and I gave him a remarkable life, and it has been one of the hardest things that we've dealt with, besides losing my mother, my husband's mother, brother-in-law, and it's right up there. Losing an animal that is so close to you is very, very hard, especially when it doesn't happen the way you plan for it to. And that's the thing that I've learned, is that I'm not in control. Humans aren't in control. It's just been really difficult. And so the question we've been asking ourselves is, do we want to get another dog? There's so much to consider at our age. I'm 63, my husband is 65. If we were to get another dog, we would absolutely get another black lab. Maybe a female this time, I don't know. But there's so many things to consider, because if Duke, I really believe if Duke hadn't had the major problems with his legs, I really believe he would have lived another 2, maybe 3 years, because we took such good care of him. And so you think about that, and if you add 15 years to my husband, that's 80. I would almost be 80. He could potentially outlive us. She could potentially outlive us. And I just know that if something had happened to Bill and I together, Duke would have had to go to one of our boys, but his life would have been completely different, and I don't know that he could have survived the transition, to be quite honest. So that's really not fair to the animal, to expect them to transition to, we both work from home, so transition to a home where they're left alone all day. Labs historically have very severe separation anxiety. Duke definitely had that because he was a service dog. He needed to be near me at all times. And so is it really fair to a dog to say, okay, we're going to get another one, and then they potentially outlive us? And then you have to think about, okay, well, if that happens, who's going to take care of the dog? Can they take care of the dog? Do they want to? Do they have the financial responsibility? Because you just don't buy one and then not think about all of the responsibility that comes along with one. They don't deserve that. If you can't give 125% to the animals you have, you shouldn't have them, in my opinion. I think everybody should have a dog at one point, especially before you have children, because it really does teach you so much responsibility. So we are perplexed. We miss having that around, but then we also question ourselves, can we invest and connect with another dog the way that we did Duke? And would it be fair to that animal if we didn't? That weighs really heavy on me. I know it's ridiculous, but I think, well, would he be disappointed that we have another one? And I know that's a crazy thing to think, but you think about these things when you are so emotionally invested in a creature that is in your life, that has been such a big part of your life, that saved your life. I just don't know the answers to these questions, and I'm curious if you've experienced them. What did you do? Did you get another one? How long did you wait? Did you get the same kind of animal, a completely different animal? Did you change the way you interact with that animal? There's just a lot of questions. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of research. I follow some groups to just kind of get an idea of how other people feel and think about this particular issue. How do you feel about it? Have you ever experienced it? If you have, what did you do? How did you handle it? How long did you wait? Did you get the same animal or different animal? Big, small? And have you thought about what's going to happen if something happens to you? Those are really important questions. And maybe it's just that we're, nowhere near ready, could be. I think one of my biggest fears is I may never, ever be ready again. And I miss that. I miss that companionship with an animal, because they love you so unconditionally. And they pick you up when they know you need it. So it's a big deal. Losing an animal, replacing an animal that's such an integral part of your family. There's so many things to consider. And I'd really like some feedback. If you're watching this and you've experienced any of this and you would like to share it, please do, because I think it's important for others in a similar situation to know and experience how others have handled it. That's sort of how we help encourage each other in this crazy world that we live in, supporting each other, encouraging each other, providing information via social media, podcasts. I think it's important, and I think it's a great tool for our society. It is one of the biggest blessings of our new electronic age, is that we can share so much so quickly with somebody that is on the other side of the world. So let me know, how do you feel about this issue of losing an animal, a dog or a cat or any other animal, a horse that is such an integral part of your life? And how did you handle it all? We would be very, very interested to know. I think everybody has a different coping mechanism, and it is grief. It is definitely grief. And you have to handle grief in your own way, at your own timetable. And it's going to be different than anyone else's. We all grieve differently. And that's okay, because we're all individuals and we're all different. So we've got to encourage each other to do exactly that. Be yourself and grieve in your own way, at your own pace, with your own coping skills. And most importantly, if you're struggling, ask for help. ask for help. So let me know, what do you think? Have you experienced this before? Do you have any suggestions or ideas? And if you have lost an animal, I'm sorry. I know how much it hurts. I know that grief and that sadness. One of the things that I've learned is I turn the radio on when I leave the house. I don't want to come home to a quiet house, because every time I walked in the door, it was this massive roar. And that's hard, not hearing him, not being knocked over by him when I came home. So one of my coping skills is to leave the radio on. And it works, for the most part. God bless you wherever you are, by the way, as we are in Holy Week this week. I hope that you have a wonderful week. If you celebrate this beautiful week, I hope it is a special week for you and your family, whatever your faith is. And it's a great comfort to know that we can openly worship, and I hope the same is for you too, wherever you may be. And let me know. Conversations at Carrie's Corner. It's just all about talking about the day-to-day challenges that we all face and providing feedback and encouragement and advice and suggestions to those who are experiencing the same thing. And I just want to leave you with a picture. Conversations at Carrie's Corner, the inspiration is American diners. You could walk into a diner, sit down at a beautiful bar, have a cup of coffee or a Coke, a hamburger or a sliced pie, meet somebody that you've never met in your life, and walk away with a great conversation, potentially a new friend, and a new thought or a new position, because we listen to each other. We listen and respect each other's opinion, and we communicate, and we take in what somebody else says civilly, rationally, calmly, and with respect. And that's what I hope this podcast will inspire you to do. Go to the table with somebody that you may not necessarily agree with. Talk about it. Why? Calmly, rationally, with respect. And you know what? Maybe you too will walk away with a different opinion or position, because we've got to fix this divide that we face in our society. Societies that are divided will not stand. History has proven that. So let's work on coming to the conversation table and fixing it before it's too late. God bless you. Thanks for joining me today. This is Carrie from Conversations at Carrie's Corner. We'll see you the next time. This is podcast number 1 for the week, by the way. Another one to follow at the end of the week. Many blessings. See you the next time.